around, Bay YouTube? It is time for one of my favorite segments, a second look, where I take a second look at a comic book I previously read and possibly even review to see what I pick up from it on a second or even third reading sometimes. Today I want to take a look at Fear State, Batman Secret Files, Miracle Molly. Fear State was actually the story arc that got me into Batman. When I started collecting back in 2019, I was not really drawn to a lot of the mainstream characters like Batman, your Superman, your Wonder Woman. I was really into Dynamite Comics, characters like Jennifer Blood, Vampirella, who else? Red Sonja, Deja Thoris, and indie comics. But I walk into the comic book store one day, and my friend Stevie's like, "We got this Batman cover. It looks amazing. I sent one back because I know you're gonna want it." And I was like, "Why would I want Batman of all things?" He's like, "Yeah, check out this cover." And he pulled out this cover with this character, and it's a full page cover here of the Batman. Uh, there's no logo. It just says Batman 108. And it's pretty much just this character who is in bright neon colors in a tracksuit named Miracle Molly, who seems to have, fused herself with some cybernetic technology. And he was right. The cover just really sticks out and stands out. And she was a big part of the current arc that was going on back in 2021 called Fear State. It was a big crossover event in the Batman universe. A great story arc. If you haven't read Fear State, I highly suggest you go back and revisit Fear State. Great, great stuff. Very dark, but great nonetheless. This was kind of a spin-off, this secret Batman Secret Files book. It's a one-shot of Miracle Molly and how she became Miracle Molly. She's part of the Unsanity Collective. They were pretty much a group of anarchist techno pirates that were, a part of the Fear State arc, and they seem to be in that gray area that Batman works in. Between criminality and vigilantism. And we get to see, when we meet the character first, they're leading a raid on this, very fancy apartment and this posh dinner, and they're planning on robbing this couple and their adult son who are having this dinner, and the leader, this Miracle Molly character, she seems to have a lot of detail on this place and on these people, but we don't know why. And the young man, he has this look in his eyes of familiarity, and he calls her by her name, Mary, as if he's shocked to see her. And that does not go well. She ends up, accosting him and rebutting him, insisting her name is Miracle Molly. And we cut straight from that scene to the story of Mary Kowalski, a computer genius who is a low-level employee at a tech firm and a joyless marriage, living a life that she is expected to but doesn't necessarily want to. And what the book does is you get to know her through her internal narration, but at the same time, every day is the same. Dealing with the daily aspects of her life, waking up, going to work, having dinner, dealing with her husband, going to sleep, waking up, the same old, same old. And the only break she gets from this monotony is this online group or forum led by this shady character on the internet led by Master Wise. And it is in her computer tech room where she's not only connecting with this Unsanity collective, but developing, innovations and plans that she wants to take to her company in hopes of getting a promotion, while the whole time she is being pressured by her husband, by his family, by her family, to give up her dream, to put her plans on the back burner. She's married to a rich man with a rich family. She needs to have kids. She needs to put all that aside. But while she externally accepts it and starts to lean into it, internally it's a fight and a struggle. And one thing that I thought was very clever, when you cut to, getting to know Mary before she became Molly Miracle, you see that every time she looks into a mirror or any reflective surface, you see, I first noticed it here when she was on the subway, and you see this close up of her face, and hidden subtly in the background, in this reflection, is Miracle Molly. This alter ego that she is developing subliminally. And like I said, every time that she passes by a reflective surface, a computer monitor, you see the reflection of Miracle Molly. And so I thought that was extremely clever, something that I did not pick up on at first. And even, here in this scene in the wine glass, Miracle Molly, the reflection in the wine glass is not really faded. It is very clear. And that reflection is screaming while she is repressing her anger. It's when, they're trying to, her husband and his family are trying to convince her to give up her dreams. Like I said, she calmly sips wine, but in the wine glass reflection, we see Miracle Molly screaming. Brilliant touch. And so she has a plan, a Hail Mary plan, that she's going to take her ideas, march them into the office, and she's going to get her promotion. And she barges into a meeting with her book of ideas, and she is shut down and escorted out and fired. And she's told by her boss, well, you're lucky to have your pension. And as she's leaving, he grabs her notebook. And she's like, well, I want to take my ideas to another company. And he's like, no. Any idea that you develop here at Helios, the company that she works for, belongs to us. And so not only were they not going to promote her, not only did they fire her, but they were going to take her ideas and her plans and her technology and sell them off as his own. And she is distraught and heartbroken, and this is the thing that pushes her over the edge, where Mary starts to fade into the background, and she actually breaks into Helios. And while she is retrieving her ideas and her creations, her boss walks in and confronts her, and the last straw is when he says, well, maybe I can throw you a few $1,000s under the table if you can sit and walk me through these ideas. And she ends up killing him, using a computer monitor and taking her ideas and running away, and really not knowing where to go, what to do. She is just wandering the streets, desperately looking for this Master Wise. And she gets to a point of exhaustion where she falls asleep on the street. And when she wakes up, there's a note next to her head that says Gibson Arcade, The Narrows. And when she follows those instructions, she finally meets him. and he offers her the opportunity to, let's see, yeah, he says, how are you ready, or now, are you ready to leave the same world behind? Give up your past and become the purest version of yourself. She replies, yes, please, that's all I want. And so, yeah, she's put through this process where her old identity is erased, and she becomes what they call the purest version of herself, which I think is, it seems like they rewired the part of her brain that feels fear and, in a way disconnected her from that part of her life with the husband and the stress and the pressure, and she became a part of this Unsanity Collective. And so when she is through with the process, they ask her, they tell you get to choose your own name. What is your name? And she looks at her notebook, and she sees that scribbled on it is Miracle Molly, her old tag on the internet. So that is what she calls herself, Miracle Molly. And the next time we see her, not only is she, she's no longer this mousy, reserved girl that kind of hides in the shadows. She is this neon-clad, green-haired, cybernetic, computer genius, tech pirate, Miracle Molly, who is breaking into the home of her husband's family to steal resources to fund the Unsanity Collective. And she insists that she doesn't recognize her husband because she doesn't. And very much, Mary Kowalski is gone. And there's only Miracle Molly. And the story ends with kind of a cliffhanger of her, tasing her husband and seemingly making off with with what they wanted. And it says to be continued in the pages of Batman. And she does have a redemptive arc and really disappears from the Batman story as for now. I haven't seen her in any issues since, and that was Batman 108. And there's been at least 40 something more issues. At least, actually, 50 something issues. Haven't seen her ever since Fear State ended. So I'm hoping that this is a character that they will revisit, because she is kind of in that gray area of outlaw. Is she good? Is she bad? What is her motivation? Plus, she is just a very interesting looking character that stands out in the dark, bleak world of Gotham. She is a neon-clad, tech pirate. And so I really enjoyed the character, hoping they bring it back. I actually read Fear State, and then I stumbled across this later from a Midtown Comics sale. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Batman Secret Files Miracle Molly from 2021. It is a one-shot. You may be able to find it. You may be able to find it at MidtownComics.com. That's where I got mine. But if you can get a hold of the Batman trade paperbacks that cover the Fear State story arc, you will not be disappointed. And I will see you next time. Until then, keep reading the books. I will. I'm out.